Hi everybody, it's Penny again, and I'm going to be reading a scene from chapter 25, and I'll tell you a little bit about why after I do. Okay, here we go. I considered him at length. There was still a lot I didn't know about Quinn, and therefore I deliberated the possibility that he was right. He could be a virtually empty shell of a person with a stunning facade, impressive intellect, and a foil wit. Then I frowned because the prospect felt dissonant with reality. No, you're a good guy. I tilted my head to the side and allowed my gaze to move over his lips, hair, neck, then lower to where his heart was beating. We see the strengths and faults in others that we do not or cannot recognize in ourselves. Janie. His smile was small, more of a grimace, and it struck me as brittle when our eyes finally met. Are you trying to scare me off? He nodded his head, but on a sigh he replied, No. Do you have any current nefarious plans? Are you plying me with Italian beef as part of an evil plot? I motioned between us and asked, Is this an elaborate lie? Are you planning to lure me into a false sense of security, have your way with me, light me up, and then toss me aside like a match or a Christmas tree? His face was serious. No. Then why do you believe that you lack internal beauty? Because I only do things for selfish reasons. Like dating me. Dating you is completely selfish. The comment struck me mute, but I recovered. If you were being selfish, then you'd still be a Wendell, and I'd be a Slamp. He shook his head. If you were a Slamp, then we wouldn't be exclusive, and you could be with other people. And that makes you selfish? That makes me selfish. His eyes pierced me, and his voice was low and sandpapery. I took the opportunity to munch on a French fry, now cold, and deliberate his words. I will say this. Quinn held me with his eyes, his expression increasing in severity as though hovering on the precipice of a meaningful confession. You make me want to be less of an asshole. My lashes flapped at him. Really? Wow, I gulped. It was a confession of sorts, but it was the type of confession that encouraged my sarcasm rather than my appreciation. The statement struck me as the epitome of non-committal, pseudo-subtle self-deprecation, and I was amazed by its definitive tepidness. That's so poetic. You should write greeting cards. Dear Dad, thank you for helping me become not as big of a jerk as you are. I'm still a jerk, just not a big jerk like you. Quinn laughed again, but this time with complete abandon. It was deep, rumbly belly laugh, which, since I was within earshot of the blast radius, was extremely infectious, and I felt it acutely like a touch rather than a sound. He held his hand over his chest, and my attention loitered on the spot. Even as I laughed, I felt a twist of discomfort emanating from a mirrored location in my own chest. I ached. I wanted to be close to him. I wanted to know everything about him. The suddenness of the pain caught me by surprise, and I closed my eyes against it, breathing out slowly, collecting myself so I wouldn't give in to my desire to climb over the desk and tackle him where he sat, Italian beef sandwich on his lap, napkin in his hand. Janie. My eyes remained closed, but I gave him a slight, evasive, closed-mouth smile. What are you thinking? I swallowed, but I didn't answer. My heart was racing. I wanted to tell him I was thinking about the fiber content and stain-resistant carpet, but that would have been a lie. Even if I wanted to, and I did want to, I couldn't seem to distract myself from the reality of being with him and all the irrepressible terror and hunger that accompanied it. Why are you so afraid? He said. Because I'm not thinking about the fiber content and stain-resistant carpet. My eyes remained stubbornly shut. What does that mean? It means... I lifted my lids and found him surveying me with simple curiosity. I swallowed a new thickness in my throat, knowing that I needed to tell him the truth. It means my brain finds you more interesting than all the really interesting trivial facts I could be contemplating or researching at present. His answering smile was leisurely and measured. I think that's the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. I returned his smile, even though I felt suddenly sober. My eyes were inexplicably watery. Quinn, I took a deep breath, steadying. Quinn, you need to be a good guy. I need you to be a good guy. He nodded, his expression retracting and echoing my sudden seriousness. I know. I want to be. Quinn licked his lips, and his eyes moved to my mouth. I will be for you. Hey everybody, it's Penny again, and regarding this scene from chapter 25, the reason I decided to read it was for a couple reasons. First of all, to me, it really felt like the first conversation that the two of them had where they were just being with each other. They weren't arguing about anything. They were just having a conversation after Janie has found out that Quinn is her boss. And so it was really a good peek into what they were going to be like that from that moment forward, moving on together. And so when you look at it, it's him being self-deprecating and too judgmental about himself, and Janie calling it like she sees it, but then also being really honest with him about what her expectations are, because she just can't live in a world where she doesn't voice her expectations, because she really feels like nobody's a mind reader, and if you don't tell people, then they won't know, because she never knows. When I went to write Neanderthal marries human, I referred back to the scene to set the tone for their conversations in Neanderthal marries human, because this is ultimately how they talk and interact, this push and pull, and it all comes back to her being honest and him wanting to treasure that honesty.